Hello everyone, this is Joe and Zach. We're here with Christy Heidel from the GCA organization, which is the Greenfield Community Association. It's a local community group in Greenfield, and she's the president. I happen to be the vice president, so we'll kind of help each other a little.
For me.
We'll help each other a little bit with this one. And we want to interview her to talk about, what the GCA does. A lot of people have probably heard of it, but maybe don't know all the specifics about it, and so we thought she'd be a great person to interview and talk about. So describe a little bit of what the GCA does.
So we, like Joe was saying, we are a volunteer organization. Primarily right now we host events, and that is how we get more people to join our organization and to volunteer with us. We do the holiday parade, National Night Out, the Greenfield Glide. We do neighborhood cleanups and neighborhood plannings. We also are responsible for the banner program and the holiday lights. Did I miss anything?
Yeah, the banner program is, a lot of neighborhoods have these. Greenfield started it about 2 years ago, where if you have a member of the family who's a military veteran, we'll do a banner, and we can give you the information for that. The plannings are around the neighborhood in the traffic islands. There's some flowers, and we lit one up for Christmas, I think, one year, and like a welcome to Greenfield kind of a sign, those kind of things. So yeah, I think that's pretty much everything.
So as a person who doesn't live in Greenfield myself, even though I know through you guys what you do, what would be something that people don't know about your organization, even if they knew that it existed prior to this interview? Maybe something you do behind the scenes that people take for granted.
I feel like most people think that the city, I'm going to steal your answer that we were talking about earlier, but a lot of the things that pop up in the community, we are responsible for them, and your neighbors are doing them, not the city. Like Joe was saying, the banner program, we're responsible for that, the holiday lights and cleaning up the garbage and that kind of thing.
You're like the unsung heroes of making the neighborhood look nice, it seems.
Kind of.
Yeah, somewhat. I mean, I think what happens is a lot of this stuff, it's a sign that, not me personally or Christy personally, but that the people, the volunteers in the organization are doing a good job. That it just kind of happens, and people say, hey, every year they have that Christmas parade, or every year those military banners go up, or the Greenfield Glide happens. And everybody takes for granted that it just happens. And I think some people have said to me, well, I always thought the city of Pittsburgh did that was part of the taxpayer, funded stuff. And no, some of your neighbors who have full-time jobs volunteer on the weekends or in the evenings to do this stuff. And like Christy said earlier, when we have events, we usually try and, sometimes people come up to us and say, thank you so much for running this. It was really fun. And we'll often ask them to volunteer, and we've gotten tons of people who said, I never knew you guys did this stuff until I came to an event and saw, and we had one of our board members who joined. He was a runner and helped us do a race for the kids when we had the bridge, when the Greenfield Bridge, we had a Greenfield Bridge closing party and a Greenfield Bridge opening party, and we're trying to find other ways to have more Greenfield Bridge parties because they were super successful. So that's typically, I think, the most common thing that people don't know is, not that we don't exist, but the scope of what we do and how to get involved.
That you stole the words out of my mouth, because how to get involved was my final answer.
Right. So I guess that kind of answers our question of how do you get involved with the GCA, which would be, we have a website, we have Twitter, we have a really great person doing social media stuff for us now, so you can subscribe to some of those things and get updates. We publish a calendar. She's pretty active on Twitter and Facebook as well, keeping things up to date. But you can always check the site, and we have regular meetings. We have a number of different committees within the GCA. The board meets once a month, but we have a public safety committee. We have a transportation and development committee. We have a public space, which does the flowers and cleanups, things like that. So we have a number of committees that if you didn't want to be involved as a board member, you could be involved just as a many a member of one of those committees, and maybe you really are into flowers and planting and cleaning up the neighborhood, that's a big priority for you, you can just be involved with that committee and not anything else.
Yeah. And Greenfield is small enough that like word of mouth is how we get a lot of things done. So just really speaking to anybody that you know that is involved with the organization is a good way to just kind of let us rope you in and help us do things for the
other thing
community.
we've done is if something big happens, and this has only happened a few times, but on occasion we've had something that affected the whole community, like the bridge closing and opening. We had a couple of, criminal type activities, and not that we give any public statements on those things, but we've done things like we've had the police commander from from our area come and give a speech and kind of host that meeting so that the community comes and asks him questions about what happened or what's going on, those kind of things. So we're also, we were a little remiss in not mentioning that we do try to provide, without giving opinions, right or wrong, just provide information to the community about things that are going on that would affect everybody, and also to coordinate with the Squirrel Hill Urban Coalition and the Hazelwood Initiative and some of the other local community groups.
Wow. So other than fighting crime and vigilante work, what are some of your favorite things to do in and around Greenfield, or places to go in the neighborhood?
I think my all-time favorite place to go would have to be Shenley Park. I'm a runner and I'm from central PA, middle of nowhere, so it's very rural there, and it kind of just reminds me that I'm at home. It's very, very beautiful.
What's your favorite sport? There's all sorts of sports going on in Shenley. There's pickleball now, tennis, soccer, hockey.
I think
I'll help Christy out a little bit.
Okay.
She does have 2 sons that she probably has just slipped her mind that she has. I know she's always busy with them doing things.
So they kind of point me in the direction of the sports that I like and that kind of thing. And every time I'm in Shenley Park, they're there with me doing something. So yeah, they're kind of like my little appendages. But I would have to say baseball, which doesn't happen in Shenley, just because they have me so baseball minded. And soccer, I really like soccer and hockey.
Okay.
Okay.
What about you? What is some
My favorite things, I do a lot of biking and rollerblading. I have 3 dogs. Christy also has dogs. So we walk in Shenley and Frick Park. We skate on the jail trail, bike around the city. Obviously, there's tons of restaurants and stores throughout Greenfield and Squirrel Hill. If you want Chinese or pizza or just about anything you want, it's kind of like a big food court. You can find just about any kind of food you want, and it's always fun to have people outside the city come in and visit, and they're often surprised at how much variety there is. And I've heard people say it's like going to New York City. There's all these different little shops that aren't chains, and that's always something I think that's maybe we take that for granted sometimes, that we have a lot of variety. So
it's kind of like a little small town vibe with large city amenities. I feel like that's how I describe it.
So I think I know the answer to this question, but I'll ask it. What is your most memorable moment working with the GCA?
So it's, I guess, kind of a recurring moment. The holiday parade, organizing that and just watching that happen is my favorite thing to do. And it's happened every year since I've been involved. Up until last year, we weren't able to put it together because of COVID. So we're looking forward to that this year.
Right. So what the parade does is we start at Hazelwood and Murray. We have local bands. We have organizations. Kids line the streets with paper bags, and all the different organizations in the parade throw out candy and
the mounted units.
Yeah, the police
The horses.
Horses come. They're always a big hit. People love that. We usually have at our awards dinner, we have a person who's like the person of the year award, so they get to ride in a car and have a little special celebration that night. And all the local businesses will usually have some sort of special. They'll be handing out hot chocolate, and it's just a really great community event. We have this fantastic fireworks display that
Yes.
most people like. A few of the neighbors don't like fireworks going off, but majority of people like it.
Hey, you can't make everybody happy all the time.
So, I think that wraps us up, but thank you, Christy, for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Like I said, visit the GCA website, follow them on Twitter or Facebook, and check us out.